If you wake up in the morning and your lower back feels like it's made out of concrete, where when you bend over to try to tie your shoes or put your socks on, it just feels like an absolute chore, this is a perfect 4 exercise routine that you can do that requires no equipment, and you can probably do it in under 10 minutes. Let's get into it. For the first movement of this routine, we're going to be exploring a hip dominant movement called the hip controlled articular rotation. Now, the reason why we're focusing on the hips is because the more immobile and stiff our hips are, the more our lower back has to pick up the slack. So how we're going to do this movement is you're going to grab onto something for additional support. You're going to lift one leg as high as you can until you run out of room. Now, if your height is here, that's completely fine, but want to bring it as high as you can. Once you run out of room, you're then going to bring it out as far as you can. Once you run out of this position, now it's time to internally rotate and wrap around very slowly. Now, the key here is to try to get as much range of motion as possible in a slow and controlled way. Now I'm going to reverse that motion. And what you're going to notice is as your hips become stronger and warmed up, you're going to get a relaxation response across the lower back. We're going to want to do this anywhere between 6 to 8 repetitions. For the second movement of this routine, we're going to be exploring a similar thought process that we just did, but instead of focusing on the hip, we're now going to focus on the spine. We're going to be doing spinal controlled articular rotations, spine cars for short. Think of this being a big circle of the spine, but we're going to be going vertebrae or bone by bone. So you give yourself a big hug, left shoulder to left hip, roll forward, trying to get as much range of motion as possible, staying controlled and slow the entire time. Now, as I'm working my way up my spine, you'll notice that the circles will get smaller and more compact. And that will allow me to target higher levels. For the third movement of this routine, we're going to be taking advantage of the fact that our hips and spine are now warmed up. We're going to be doing a wide-based rotation. So what we're going to do is you're going to grab a wide stance like so. You're going to keep a tall spine nice and flat. And then from here, you're just going to focus on rotating one way at a time. And for the last movement of this routine, we're going to be exploring a range of motion that I feel like a lot of people have lost over the years just because they simply don't use it. So what you're going to do is you're going to grab a wide stance so you have a nice base of stability. Arms go up as high as you can. And then what I want you to do is reach to one side, shooting your hips in the opposite direction. That's going to elongate this entire side, really stretching out your obliques and QLs and lat. And then what you're gonna do is just go to the other side. Pro tip, if you wanna take a big breath in and all the way out, you'll be able to get lower over time.